the Ranter is back to go into yet another rambling diatribe of the news of the day. And I swear this will be a quick one. Because I only really want to do this, not because I'm padding my video count, because I'm 2 away from 100 videos, but also, I don't know, I just wanted to get this off my chest. This. Waking up in this early morning, from my point of view, it's becoming a ritual for me because I wake up this early to take the dog out, and then I'm up for a few hours and then go back to sleep. Then wake up again and go to work. Anyway, so during this time frame, I would just go on the social medias and see what people are whining about. And I saw this tweet about, someone who was claiming that he was right about the deep state, going all the way back to 2017. Ah! And this usual regurgitation of, whining about the concept of the deep state. And it occurred to me how much of a buzzwords these things are, that the people just throw them around back and forth, and the phenomena of this only seems to be like something that was happening in the Obama administration on up. So it's a democratic phenomena here. No, it's not. And for a lot of you who are complaining about the deep state now, probably wasn't complaining about the deep state before now. Because if you think about it, governmental surveillance is not just something that just happens online, and it's not something that it's almost always left leaning. You want to give a little history lesson about this. People who complain about it now probably wouldn't have been complaining about it in the 1950s, when governmental agencies, governmental apparatuses, and the media were joined hand in hand as they would investigate, wiretap, phone tap people suspected of being communists, and then haul them up for the House Un-American activities, forcing them to name names of people they suspect were communists, so they could blacklist them from, say, Hollywood or whatever jobs that they had for even being suspected of being communist in their writings or dealings of people. Same type of people who are complaining about the deep state now probably wasn't complaining about the deep state when the FBI was bugging and wiretapping and phone tapping people like Martin Luther King Jr., or when the CIA would follow Malcolm X when he would leave the country. I'm sure they weren't complaining about it then. I'm sure they weren't complaining about it over the 3 presidential administrations that Daniel Ellsberg found information concerning the Pentagon's feeling that getting into the Vietnam War would not be a war they could win, but nonetheless they had to do it because of the sake of fighting communists. Just to drag on this conflict for so long. And so Daniel Ellsberg found this information, and the government went to great lengths to silence him, and to silence any publications that would publicize what he had found in the Pentagon Papers. The people who worry about deep state now probably wouldn't be worrying about how the government under, say, Nixon would send infiltrators into the Yippie movement that would masquerade as, you know, free-loving, free-willing hippies, in order to try to coax them into violent acts or subversive acts against the government or do public displays. When things went out of hand during the Chicago riot, they had infiltrators come up and testify against Abby Hoffman and and the others who were on trial for that, and that was one of the ways that they actually did get Abby Hoffman and convict him to go to prison for that. Again, this is not a long one. This is, again, me padding, but it is ironic to me how when things like this happen to left-leaning folk, it's fine. It's fine. They're obviously these people are just communist sympathizers. Teaching, having people sit and listen to them speak or read what they write, whatever they produce on television and or movies. We have to get them, so we need to tap them. It's okay to wiretap, phone tap, and spy on Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X because they're agitators. They're agitating the status quo. How dare they? It's perfectly fine to make sure that you bury someone who investigates and brings about the truth of us going into a war that we really shouldn't have been going into for the sake of our combating communists, that we ourselves knew that we were sending people over to engage in conflict that we had no real basis of winning, that there was no goal of winning. And to remind those, we, in the Vietnam War, we lost it even though we won every single major military engagement, because it wasn't about, taking a city or whatever. It was the will to fight and the point of fighting, and we didn't have a point to fight. Just to get into a satellite proxy war. Because again, those damn commies. And it doesn't matter that the government would send people to screw with peace-loving, free-loving hippies who all they wanted to do was, ring around the Pentagon and make it levitate. Yeah, they're the dangerous ones for Nixon. But now, the shoe's on the other foot and goes in the other direction. Oh, it's horrible. It's awful. It's the deep state. Ooh. Now, is there government corruption everywhere? Yes. Yes, you can find it one way or another. And if it's not like overt or subversive corruption, if it goes from one shade higher, one shade lower, it's financial corruption. It's like Citizen United. Oh, it's okay to send all this dark money into campaigns. Don't question where it's coming from. Shh. Oh, but if you can just not even prove, but accuse one side or another of like foreign money, So foreign money is bad. Domestic money in liquid form, which of course would have in no way imply that they bought the candidate or use their influence to, buy out suppressing information. This day and age, we're all worrying about, Biden suppressing the information from Hunter Biden's laptop on one single social media platform while everywhere else you could find it. But somehow that's voter suppression. That affected your vote in the 2020 election and the 2022 election. Which again, from the last time we spoke on this, is the continuing degrade and decline of our American politics that's going to affect our country to the point where elections are not going to matter. One is all one side or the other side, and screw compromise, screw actually being Americans, or just conservatives or liberals, and that's it. That's two camps, and it's depressing. But to circle back around here to land this plane, because again, this is going to be quick. Y'all who complain about deep state now did not give a shit for when it happened. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. So are you whining about it now? Maybe y'all weren't even born yet. Maybe it was just something that your parents went through or your grandparents went through. But history keeps going, and y'all doomed to repeat it if you just don't understand it, don't acknowledge it, and use it as an experience to avoid it. Complaining about it now is pure politics. I mean, if you're gonna go about this whole thing of like, free Julian Assange or free Edward Snowden for doing essentially what Daniel Ellsberg was doing. Yeah, Daniel Ellsberg, bad. Snowden and Assange, good. And the only difference between any of them is politics. Is who you choose to be your props, to rally around, rally the name of, use as a buzzword, to give you street cred on your outrages. But whatever direction that this goes, this is naked hypocrisy where it's okay for it happening on one side, but it's not okay when it happens to your side. You were fine with WikiLeaks. You were fine for having people's emails just read out on the nightly news. Whether there was actual bombshells in it or not, it was just how it was interpreted because your side was going to get, yay! Same people complaining upon the suppression of information that you could find anywhere from one social platform. The age we live in, right? That's it. That's all. I don't really have anything else beyond that. I just needed to get this off. Get this out of me. Now I'm one away. 99th. After which will be 100 of these psychotic, incoherent rants. I will talk to you later.